Okay, welcome listeners to another series of It's an Ugly Truth. I am particularly excited to introduce our next guest. From TikTok to Instagram to OnlyFans, from rich mum posts to racy swimwear and traveling all over the world. Famous for those blue eyes, killer put downs when criticized, using her brain as well as her personality and body to make an amazing living. Taking that one step further and now leading into consultancy. Taylor Ryan, it's an absolute pleasure welcome you to another series of It's an Ugly Truth.
That's such a nice introduction. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Look, I remember when I was a kid, it was the 1980s. The only introduction to nudity was like page three of the Sun, bit
hmm
before your time. I remember breaking into some shop and all I did was I nicked loads of the magazines and I sort of cut out all the nudie shots and I kept it under my bed. And obviously, the magazine buffet of boobs was found by my mother. Then that time went to boarding school. Yeah, and then we got nudity cards at boarding school. So boys could have that moment alone in a stinking toilet with these nude cards. Anyway, that boy that can shuffle cards with one hand, they need to ask one question. Did they go to boarding school? So, Taylor, do you have a story and how the hell did you get into this awesome growing business?
Yeah, so I genuinely I have always loved being in front of the camera. Like I don't remember a time where I didn't want to dance or sing or act. And I just remember like I entered this calendar competition and I won like the reservist role. So I got a page on the back of the calendar and this was 7 years ago. And someone that was there was telling me about OnlyFans, and I was like, "What the fuck is OnlyFans?" And she showed me it, and my ex at the time, I told him about it, and he was like, "No, absolutely not. That's not happening." And I just immediately was like, "Oh, I don't like being told what to do." So I ended it with him, and the rest was almost history. But I started to get into like the glamour modeling side of things, and I was already being like hired to just model to help photographers portfolios to kind of like get their like pictures like good so they can get like paid for other stuff, so like you would do like free work. And yeah, it was a whole thing. And I just remember being too scared to go full time into OnlyFans because, and this, I'm going to say the word only, but I know that it is a lot of money to a lot of people. At the time, I was only making like £1.5 to £2.5 a month while also being a van driver and a barista. And at the time, I'm like, shit, like I can't do this. Like this is like not going very well. And then I got invited to this like influencer event for the first time, and it was 2019. And I said to my boss, the in my barista role, I said to him like, "Oh, I really need this day off because I've been invited to this Christmas party, and this is going to be like a really good opportunity for me." And he said that I couldn't go. And that's, I mean, to be fair, when I think about it, it's like, yeah, that's fair. Like, if you can't go, you can't go. Like, they've told you no. So I called in sick that day because I thought, I don't fucking like being told what to do. And I've noticed a pattern here with myself. I'm not enjoying this. So I called in sick and I went anyway. And then I came back, they had a meeting. They were like, "Taylor, it was a bit ironic that you called in sick on the day that you wanted off." And I was like, "Oh, it's mental, isn't it? What happened?" Like, I couldn't believe I was sick. I couldn't even go anyway. I did go, got the connections that I needed to. And then the next week I quit. I kept my van driving job because I was still too scared to go full time with OnlyFans. And then I actually got sexually harassed and then sexually assaulted by my manager at the van driving company at the time. And that was the day that I just went, you know what? I cannot fucking do this anymore. I can't be employed. I clearly hate being told what to do. And I hate other people having control over freedom, money, finances. And then that was it. The rest was literally history. So from 2019 to 2020, that's when I became self-employed, and I never looked back. And I was so young at the time. Like I was like 21, I think, or 22. So
So
yeah,
what
that was
is
a
just so
journey.
the listeners can understand what exactly is OnlyFans? What is the OnlyFans? So we hear about it, and there's obviously there's some negative press about it, and there's also what I do love is seeing the stories of these pained people on it's a meme, and they've got
Mm.
pained expression on their face, and they're saying, "I'm off to do my job from 9 to 5, trying to afford like my mini." Seeing the OnlyFans people buying their new Ferrari. So what exactly is OnlyFans? What is it? So so we can all understand exactly where we're coming from.
Yeah, so OnlyFans is a subscription website, and you can use it for anything. It doesn't have to be for porn, nudity. It doesn't have to be for any of that. It's just a site where you offer a service or a product or a bit of content, and people subscribe to that page, and then they basically are able to consume whatever it is that you've put out there. So for me personally, mine is porn, nudity, one-on-one chatting, like just like that real personal aspect. Whereas like personal trainers can use it to sell gym programs, and chefs can use it to sell recipes and cooking classes.
So what's the proportion of OnlyFans more of the sexual nature than the non-sexual nature? Would you say that it was more predominantly sex?
It is now. When I first started, it wasn't, and it was quite a new platform. So like my biggest hurdle was actually trying to convince people to put their card details into a website that no one's ever heard of before, and that it was safe. So it was predominantly used for, like I said, like PTs and chefs, but it's definitely predominantly sex work now.
So what we're going to do in the true spirit of the 50 Shades of Grey, we can have the safe word read. So if I ask anything and you're uncomfortable with what I'm asking, please, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable by it. I'm sure you won't, but I do. I think there are questions that people would like to know.
Yeah.
I mean, so what would be your weirdest request that someone has actually asked you? Or the one that maybe not weird, maybe the one you thought, why on earth do they get a kick out of that?
Yeah, you know what? Like I stay away from the word weird because I'm really inclusive of all fetishes and kinks. So like I wouldn't call it weird, but I would still say like, okay, each to their own. Don't understand it, but good for you. So I am getting into comedy now, and I'm learning and training to do stand up. And this guy paid for a 5-minute custom, and a custom is basically you get to kind of request what I do for you, and I can either say yes or no, and then I'll
Hold
make
on,
your
back
own.
up. So custom. Yeah, sorry. I know
Yeah.
that people will go, "What's that all about?" So there is a custom element to it. So what's that exactly? I'm not going to miss out the other thing that we're going to talk about. So the custom element is what exactly?
So it's basically they can request the specific content that they want, and then I can either decline it or accept it. It will have its own personal price tag to it, and it's just for them. So
So
when
this
I
is
make
like
that
on
video,
Zoom. It could be a Zoom thing that is
like
like.
yeah, like I don't offer Zoom, but like it would be a video that's made just for them, and it would have like their name in it, what it is that they've requested. So I got asked to do this custom, and it was a 5-minute set naked. All of this is fine, yeah, because it's like this is okay. Getting into comedy, doing OnlyFans, I get naked. That makes perfect sense. But the stand-up set had to be about buses, and I don't know if anyone's ever tried stand-up comedy that's watching this, but getting a 5-minute set to be funny about buses is a fucking task. And I'm autistic. Buses and bus routes is one of my special interests, and that was probably the most bizarre and I don't understand why request I've ever had.
Lord. So the other question would be how many subscribers? Well, I see that they pay now. I tried to do a little bit of due diligence. You charge $10.99. Is that right, a month?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, how many subscribers do you have? In other words, I want to know how much you earn a month from OnlyFans, but I'm not going to be that crude, and that is so bad of me asking. But everybody's going to want to know.
Of course. You know what, as well, to answer that in a roundabout way, you can look at someone's subscription price, but you will never figure out how much they make, even if I tell you how many subscribers I have, because I have discounts on, I do upselling, I do different types of marketing. So there's different deals, different bundles that come into it. So even if I give you a number, let's say 2, 3, 4,000 subscribers, it's between that range at the moment. You wouldn't figure it out because it's more than that. Like I make more than that.
So, so, so So 4,000 subscribers, you make more than them paying you $10.99 a month. That is awesome. That is awesome. So okay, so what type of content would you put out? Yeah. So forget the bus and forget the ones that are a little bit. What would be your more common thing that that people would ask you to do?
So when I first started, I didn't have a niche. So I am very much the girl next door look and vibe. I offer like a really authentic type of content. So it's very like amateur. It's like your very typical like lingerie, like fun, but like kind of pretty and cute still kind of vibe. I don't do dominatrix. I will do dominatrix, but I don't like necessarily offer it unless it's requested. And yeah, you would find like a really just like amateur porn style vibe to my page, which I really like because it means that I just really enjoy my job.
And do you go with girls?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I only work with girls. I don't work with male creators.
And that's full on pornography with other girls. You do that, and then people pay to watch you do that. And there's no whole bars. It's just like watching a pornographic movie.
Yeah, pretty much. And again, it's all amateur, and I only work with girls who have the same levels as me. So levels is basically what you're comfortable going up to. So I only work with girls that will like not the whole hog because I still have my own limitations. I still have my own boundaries. But like the really classic kind of content. And I also only work with girls that I get on with because it makes the content just like so good. Like it just makes it so authentic. Like no one's faking to like each other or even want to be in the same room as each other. Like it's just really good content.
And so, all right, and I've always wanted to ask someone who is in the sex industry, do they actually enjoy it sexually? I know it's probably an odd question of mine, but I always wonder that whether
Yeah.
they actually enjoy it.
That's not a weird question. And I think actually a lot of people think this way. I can only answer for myself and majority of people that I've worked with that we do enjoy it, but that's because we're self-employed. We are setting our own boundaries. We are only working with people that we want to work with.
Yeah.
We're completely in control financially in terms of where we work and when we work, when we're doing the collab. So like people that do OnlyFans like that, I would almost speak for and say that they really do enjoy it. But again, there are some people that go the whole hog that don't want to. So I can't speak for them.
So I've got to ask you, there's been massive news about Lily Phillips and Betty Blue, is it? I can't.
Oh, Bonnie Blue, yes.
That's it. Now, tell me, what do you think about them? What's your thought processes about them? Because I feel that what they're doing has gone one step further. Now I'm very much into. I mean, I have a daughter. It's her body, and I'm so into that. But I feel, for me, it's a bit crass the way they're marketing to the barely legal.
Fairly legal, yeah.
What's your thoughts about that?
I think the terminology that's being used is very damaging. I think the barely legal terminology is not very endearing and kind of a scary thing to be saying. However, what they're actually doing, like them actually sleeping with 100 men or 1,000 men, like I will always back a woman where I say it's their body, their business,
Yeah.
and that's where I stand on that front. If there's any men that walk away from that and they feel used or they feel like they didn't get what they wanted out of it,
Yeah.
every person that's there made their own choice. They won't be like, I can't make them liable for it. But I think the terminology definitely needs to be revisited. And I definitely think there needs to be a level of care when it comes to like how global and international the news gets about them.
I do. I mean, I think for me, I mean, I was going to put a post out the other day, and people were talking badly about them, and I put a post, I put a comment, and I said, look, why not teach your sons that don't go and queue for 2 hours to sleep with someone? Why don't you just go and find someone that you want to sleep with, and not necessarily? So it's I think you brought up a good point that is their bodies, and the men weren't coerced into it. They chose to do that. And for me, if my son had queued up to do that, I'd be quite upset. I'd feel as though I'd failed in a way as being a dad to know that I'm not against pornography with my son growing up. I limited it. not necessarily content, but I didn't, I know that there were a lot of kids his age. Like I said, we were shuffling cards in the toilet, nudie cards in the toilet.
Yeah.
Now it's everywhere, isn't it? And there is, I think, if when people are growing up and they haven't got a proper understanding of pornography, it can then become a negative influence rather than maybe the positive influences that you're seeing. It can have a negative influence of kids growing up. So I actually did restrict my son from watching too much of it. When I saw other people, they were on it all the time and they became addicted to it. Do you think there's a level of addiction with the people who are putting their credit cards into your machine? Have you seen someone and you're thinking, right, this guy's or girl is clearly addicted to what I'm doing, and would you go, sod it, that's their problem, and just keep taking the money? Or do you see an addiction process?
Yeah, I think I have, and I've got a real strong moral compass. So I am, and I believe that more creators should be this way. There is a level of diligence and there is a level of care that we need to take when we do see customers that say terms like, I can't really afford this, and I shouldn't really do this, but it's those type of people that I end up not really like engaging with as much, because I am not going to be that person that takes advantage of someone that can't afford it but is addicted to me, because that's a parasocial problem. And I'm not there to feed a parasocial problem. However, I do really enjoy the customers that are straight out like, here's $250 for just being fantastic. And you can tell, I've been in this job too long now. You know the people that can afford to do that, and you know the people that can't. And you just have to be like careful. You can't be careless about it. But going back to your point,
so they've got this. So fortunately, I know absolutely nothing about the OnlyFans, and I did do due diligence on you, but not enough to actually join anything. So they've got the £250. So I've got this clear. They put their credit cards into your machine. You get the £250, and they say they want you to do this, and then you video it and send it back, or do you do it at the same time that they're watching?
Oh, I would send it back. So there'd be like, for me, again, this is how my page works. Like, if I was going to take a custom from someone, they don't get to control when I make that video for them. And this is where it comes back to, this is why I love my job, because you can request something from me, but I'm going to do it when I feel good, when I look good, when I want to create this content. And that benefits both of us. One, it benefits me because it means that I enjoy my job. And two, it benefits you because you're not going to get this shit half-hearted video. So yeah, I wouldn't do it there and then, but that's mainly because like I'm not always in the mood to do it.
So how many hours of content are you doing this a day?
You know what? I've managed to cut that down a little bit, and that's simply because I'm trying to create a better service for customers. So now I do it where it's only like once a month or twice a month, but I'll accept customs that come in. And then that could take like 6 hours to create them all, up to like 8 hours to create them, and then further more to then editing them if I kind of like stumble or fuck up a little bit or I stutter or something, which I normally actually just keep that in anyway, because like, again, it's authentic amateur content and it's very much just me. So yeah, I would say if I'm doing the content day, it's about 10 to 12 hours total, and that will include some social media stuff.
Walk me through a content day. So you get up in the morning, you go, right, I've got some videos to make. Walk me through the day.
So I save content days for when I go out to collaborations. So when I work with other people, so I can get the most out of that content day. But let's say I'm at home or something. I'll get up in the morning. I treat myself really nicely. So I'll get up, I'll have the breakfast that I want to have. I'll have the nicest coffee that I can make. I will go and get ready. And then my day starts when I start getting ready, because the getting ready process is part of making content. Yeah. So I'll get ready. That'll take like an hour. And then I kind of just like go through a to-do list of things that I need to do. I'll start with like the longest videos first. So they get done. The customer the longest videos are the most expensive ones. So the people that are paying the most, they're getting like the best version of me that morning. And then as the day goes on, I'll stop for lunch if I feel like I'm like too tired for it. And then I'll just continue until I'm at that point where I'm like, you know what? I could have 10 videos left, but I'm just going to stop. Because again, it's the quality of the video. I don't want to give someone a really shit quality, and then I'll just do the same thing again tomorrow. So
what would be the most someone's paid you for one video?
I think $500, but it was like 7 minutes. I can't remember exactly what the video was, but it was.
Oh,
It
you got
was
to, you know what? Make it up. I don't care. Just make the video up. What was the video about?
like. Yeah, I can't remember. It wasn't like anything like, oh my god, that's insane. I think it was like the striptease and the the classic like playing and like again
I don't
like
know.
really,
What's paying? Haven't a clue.
just really like amateur like porn, really
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like
yeah.
solo content, solo stuff. As explicit as they wanted, like fucking reverse cowgirl, bloody yeah, missionary like point of
I
views,
don't know these
like.
names. Where have I been all my life? You know, how long do you and I do and I want to delve into the business side of you, and you are a incredible businesswoman, got a
Thank you.
really good head on your shoulders. How long do you think you have now? I'm not going to use the word shelf life because I hate that word. How long do you think you've got of this? And I know that you're transitioning into the business side of things, which I want to talk about, but how long do you think you've got at this? How old are you now, Taylor?
I'm 27 now.
So when do you think that part of your life will transition into purely consultancy?
You know what? I've actually been asked this before, and the answer might not be completely satisfactory or be a dead answer, but when I'm done, like it's for me, it literally is when I don't have the passion for it anymore, or if I just genuinely don't enjoy it, and that will be when I stop. I could be 30 years old, this could be in 3 years' time, this could be in 10 years' time, I could be 30, I could be like 40 years old. Like I just don't have an answer for it. I
I mean,
just
there's always granny porn, isn't there?
There is, and there's always MILF porn. Like, I'm so fucking for it. Like, loads of my friends, yeah, have babies. Loads of my friends have kids that are like older. And they do OnlyFans and they love it and they're successful at it. And I just think, yeah, there is no shelf life for this job.
So you saying about your friends, how many friends do you have that do this? I mean, are they all as successful as you? I mean, that's probably a difficult question, that one. I mean, do you have a lot of friends who do? Is it that common? Is it that common? This like OnlyFans?
I think my friends that I have now, so I have I call them civilian friends and OnlyFans friends because it's just the easiest way to just like differ them.
Mm.
Um, but I think I have a lot of OnlyFans friends because it's such a community, and when you find your people in the community, you're able to talk about whether it's been a hard month for them financially, or how did you do your taxes this month, or can you expense this, can you do that. So I think I have like a really like tight-knitted OnlyFans community, but I don't think it's popular because I have loads of friends. I have loads of friends in the industry because they're in the industry.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
do have like my NHS friends, I have my marketing friends, and everyone that I surround myself with are all inspiring. So to answer your question of are they as successful as me, they all are, just in different ways.
Yeah.
Like I do
Yeah.
have like a lot of monetary value success, but I also have like a really strong networking connection to my friends, to my family, to my dogs, and I'm really rich in life, not just like
No.
about money. And I think a lot of my friends are the same, whether it's finance or not, they're all rich in their life.
And what do your family around you feel about you? Whether parents, brothers, sisters? Do you have parents, brothers, sisters? What do they feel about you doing the job you do?
You know what? When I first started, I I didn't know how to market myself, so I've really, really learned social media marketing throughout my time in the last 7 years. But when I first started, I was posting on my Facebook page, and on my Facebook page had school friends, my dad, I had my siblings, and I wasn't posting OnlyFans content. I was just posting like bikini content or like underwear pictures. And then my dad was like, I love you, kid, but I'm going to have to unfollow you. He didn't unfriend me. He had to unfollow me on Facebook. And I was so butthurt by that. I was like, I cannot believe it. You don't support me. And as I've got older, and I'm 27 years old,
Yeah.
one, he's so chill about it now. Like, we'll even joke about it. Like, I'll even say to him, like, you should really start getting on OnlyFans. Like, and he'll say something to me if we're at the pub or something. I'll be like, go use your bot money or something like that. but yeah, when I look back on it, I'm like, why the fuck was I posting that when my family could see it?
So they're quite. I mean, that's probably the Lily Phillips bit that her mum was supporting her sleeping with thousands of men. But yeah, so so they're quite supportive of. Well, they are supportive of what you do. What car do you drive? Got to slip that in somewhere. I see it. There's sometimes you post on Instagram and you're in a car. Wait, what car do you drive?
So this is very recent. But about 3 weeks ago, I was driving my Volvo XC40, which, by the way, can I just say, is one of my biggest achievements. That car is one of my biggest achievements because it was on HP. So like at the end of the payments, I was going to afford it, and I have been able to, and it's mine, it's my car. But I now have a brand new 25 plate Tesla.
You have a Tesla. How do you like the Tesla?
You know what? I fucking love it. That Volvo is going to be gone. I'm not keeping the Volvo. Like, the Volvo, it's just served me so unbelievably well. And I'm so proud of myself for being able to get that car. But the Tesla is just so cool.
So you with your Tesla or your Volvo and all that, do you think people have any misconceptions about you, or yeah, do you think because of the OnlyFans, people have a misconception about you, and what could that be?
Yeah, definitely. I've been told multiple times by people that I absolutely cherish and adore, and I'm so close to now, that when they first saw a picture of me, or they first saw me in, I don't know, like a bar or something, that they just thought like, oh, she's gonna be a stuck-up bitch or something like that. And then they met me, and immediately they were like, oh shit, she is just so not. And I think that was one of the biggest misconceptions, is that people think that I genuinely am going to be judgmental or hard to talk to. But like, because I grew up in a council house, 7 brothers and sisters in a 3-bedroom house with
Wow.
like honestly no pot to piss in kind of vibe. Like I really grew up with like the bare minimum. That's the type of shit that people don't know. So the
Yeah.
misconception is that I've got daddy's money. Dad asks me for money, okay,
Yeah.
motherfuckers. Like I don't,
So
it's
how
not
do you
like
avoid that? What do you do to sort of escape the stigma of the OnlyFans? Well, I suppose coming on talks like this, but what do you do to avoid the stigma that's associated with? Because I do think the blues and the lilies and all that lot are ruining it for everybody. But you know, how do you avoid the stigma of it?
I think kind of to touch on the Lily and Bonnie thing is like I think people are forgetting that like sex isn't just for men. And like I think a lot of people getting riled about the fact that these women are doing this like massive task of sleeping with so many people. But people are just forgetting that actually they're not necessarily ruining it. They're just making sex their own. The same way that like Sabrina Carpenter has got these like saucy lyrics in her songs and these like kind of like sexy, like horny things that she's saying. Maybe sex is actually just kind of fun to women, and it doesn't need to be anything else. And when people say, "Oh, that she's not going to be wife material," or "No one's going to want to be with them after," it's like, what if they just don't fucking care?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what if they just, and also, there's going to be someone out there that also sees that and just doesn't care. So, to touch on that, I don't think they're necessarily ruining it. But what I personally do is I just show my personality more on Instagram.
You do get a lot of stick sometimes, don't you?
Yeah,
You get some people will say something, but you seem to have some killer put downs.
I think that's why I wanted to get into comedy so much as well. Is I've always loved like kind of shutting people down when they say something shit, because like before OnlyFans, like I was just bullied in school or
Yeah.
I was just picked on in work, and like I've just always been like that person. But I'm also that person that's like, why are you being mean, you weirdo? Like, what is it? What's going through your head right now? Like, is that not just so strange that you think that you should have said that to me? And I
Yeah.
just think that's
Yeah.
really carried on in what I do now. So
So how did
yeah,
you? What's this comedy thing? Why are you going into the comedy? What is it? Tell us a little bit more about that.
I think I don't know whether it's just like my like suppressed childhood trauma that's just coming out in other ways and dealing with it with dark humor. Not 100% sure, but I've always found that any kind of tough time that I've been through, I've always dealt with it through comedy. And if I can make that like just a fun hobby and maybe even potentially a different career path, then I think that would be really cool. But it also shows that, you know, you can do OnlyFans and there's just so many other avenues if you just have the talent, the charisma, the want to get it.
So have you done some stand up? Have you actually done some stand up in front of people?
Yeah, I actually did a really shit job. It was in Stoke. Basically, what I've learned from stand up so far is that my content doesn't work in suburb places with like. So my content is about like doing OnlyFans, being autistic, and like how my dad doesn't understand the X, Y, and Z in front of a room full of people who are my dad's age that drink beer like my dad and eat curry like my dad. So it's like a quiet room and no one laughs. But I've done a couple of successful stand-up sets, but it's all open mics. Like none of it's professional.
So you've done that. You've done the stand-up comedian. What's this business? I mean, what I always respect about people is they do a business and they go on to another one, they find something else. But you've really gone one step further with the OnlyFans, and now you're doing consultancy. So there'll be listeners out here who are interested in OnlyFans. So what is it that you do with the consultancy business?
Yeah, so it's called FX Creators. I've been running that now for 3, maybe 4 years. The birthday's coming up in, what day is it? In 2 weeks. And I should really know whether it's the 3rd or 4th birthday though. And it's an online course that teaches creators the fundamental basics in how to be a successful OnlyFans creator. It teaches people that OnlyFans isn't actually about the content that you make on the platform. It's actually more about the business side of how you run it. So like your content could be absolutely A-class and you could hire a professional videographer. All your stuff could be complete professional porn. But if no one knows who the fuck you are and how to deal with the algorithms on social media and how to market yourself and find your niche and build your following, then it doesn't matter. So I basically just teach them how to build that successful infrastructure of your actual business model. Because let's say they go viral. So one person that I helped, she came over to me. We had a consultancy call, and the infrastructure of her programs and the way that she was running her OnlyFans was shit. It just was shit. And I told her that straight up. I got her to change X, Y, and Z, and then I said, "This is what you're currently trying to do on your social media. Try this idea." She did the idea. It went absolutely viral. She made 38 grand overnight.
Oh,
and luckily,
wait, don't miss anything out. What did she do? What did you tell her to do?
No, I actually can't because of confidentiality. Like, I don't want people to be like, "Oh, I remember seeing that video," and then knowing who the client was.
So okay, so I came to you and I said, "Right, Taylor, I want to start an OnlyFans. What would you advise me to do which could work?"
I would probably get you to go into dentistry, like type of stuff. Like if you were like, you know what, fuck the dentistry, like I want to start a successful OnlyFans, I'd be like, right, what are the things that we can play on immediately that people know you for? Being a dentist. What could we do with that? We could make it sexy. Like those are the 2 things that I'd immediately think of. And I basically just took that from her, saw what it was that she was currently doing, things that she could hone in on. And then because she changed the infrastructure of her page and she had the price list, the upselling all sorted, she had the welcome message sorted. So there was an upsell immediately when people came in. She managed to make that type of money. And that's what I teach.
So they pay you monthly for that as well?
So not monthly. The course is a one-off price. And then you get added into a community group. So there's loads of creators in there. They will help each other every single day. Everyone's saying, there's literally one of their birthdays today. And everyone's like, "Happy birthday, oh my God." Everyone like posts each other. It's such a beautiful community. And you get access to all of that sort of stuff. But there's also like smaller things that you can buy. I have a 2025 calendar. So it's all of like the important days where you can make content, like days that you wouldn't normally think of, like slap your ass day. These are all things. Pancake day, like instead of it being pancake day, it's like, what could you do to make some like fun content for that? And then there's like ideas on what you could do for it. So there's like little things that you can purchase that could just really like elevate your content, even if you're already a successful creator.
So people do laugh a lot about, and I've heard people talking about OnlyFans, and they go, "Oh, I don't mind showing my foot and get a few thousand a month. It can't be that basic. It can't be that."
No.
But people do joke about it, don't they? They'll show a foot and they'll get 10 grand a month. There clearly is a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually at a comedy show last night, and someone made that joke. Like not to me, like they made it on stage, and I was just sat there thinking, like, "Fucking idiot." You have no idea. It's not that simple.
What are your thoughts about actually there is a growing trend of younger women going abroad to
Mm,
place up, I don't want to say which part of the world it is because I wouldn't want to put them down.
mm.
And it's for the sex trade. So they're going over and they have menus. And I mean, isn't that dangerous? Is it because I read another article about it. That's a growing trend. What's your thoughts about that?
With like prostitution, is that what you mean?
Yes. Well, it's more of yes, prostitution, but I think they probably nickname it something else. They go for rich men abroad and sugar daddies or something. And,
Oh, and
you
like
know,
escorting, like they'll call it
yes,
escorting, but they
yes,
will do sexual favors.
yes. And so they have menus and all sorts of things. I mean, what's your thought process about that?
I I love it. Like I just think like anything that can bring power to the person that is offering the service that wants to do it. And this is taking away pimps. This is taking away like the trades and the sex circles and like the people that are made to do it. They're taking that away and
Yeah.
having like these entrepreneurs, these women that are like, I want to offer this service because there are people that want to pay for it and I want to do it. I think more power to them to do that. I personally am online and will only ever be online, but I
Yeah.
have escort friends. Like I have people that are just living their absolute best lives, and not all of it's glamour, and not all of it can be glamorized, but it is fucking cool in my opinion. Like I just think if you can just bring such a gift to someone else's life that then in turn bring a gift to your life. I think that's so cool.
What about the dangerous part of it, which was, that was it's so funny. I'm just getting a bit probably a bit old and fuddy duddy, but the thing that sprung to my mind was the danger part of it. I mean, how do you ever feel? You're obviously very well known. Do you ever feel that how do you keep yourself safe? If going out or these girls going abroad, how do you? Because there seems to be an almost stigma, but I suppose there's a threat to
Mm.
someone in your industry. And how do you cope with that, or how do you think these girls going abroad, not that you do that, but how do you think that they can keep themselves safe in that sort of industry?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I find it really hard to speak for them because like I'm not immersed into it. Like, and I don't know a lot of the precautions that they take. I just know that customers get vetted, IDs get sent over. So it's like the
I see.
everyone has like this part. If someone, let's say my friend, I'll talk about my friend for example, she won't go and work with someone if they haven't sent over all of their IDs, they haven't paid the deposit, she can't see all of their information and exactly who this person is. I think she'll have like a phone call first. She can see none of it's fake, that sort of stuff. So from the perspective of safety, I know that a lot of like procedures get put in place first, especially the people that do it well. Obviously, I don't know how the amateurs do it, but that's the difference, isn't it, between a professional and an amateur, is someone taking the safety precautions and someone not. But for me, the way that I have my safety in place, because I think it's a really valid point, is I have CCTV everywhere in my house. Like there is not a fucking spot. Anyone listening to this, there is not a spot in my house and surrounding that you would not be videoed. So I have that everywhere. My car has it surrounding on like sensory mode. So like you'll never not get caught. And that's on my drive. So before you've even got to my house, you've been caught on my car. Um,
Brilliant.
I don't tell people where I go until I've kind of already been. And if I do post where I currently am, it's because I'm with people that are already safe and people that like wouldn't be able to let anything happen to me. Like
So how many countries have you been to? How many countries has it taken you to?
what OnlyFans?
Yeah. Well, your job or what you do. I mean, you're saying how, you're on 2 grand a month being a delivery driver. You've suddenly got OnlyFans and clearly, God, you do brilliantly. Where's it taking you to? How many countries in the world have you seen?
A lot. Like I have seen a lot. Like Thailand, Dubai, 4 states in America. I've been Cyprus, loads of places in Spain, France, like a lot of places, Croatia. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I've been a lot of places. Italy, oh God, I love Rome so much. It's so common, but Rome has just got such a special place in my heart. That was such a fun trip. Yeah, I've been to a lot of places, and it really
When
has
you
taken.
go, when you go and say you go on holiday, and you go right? I'm doing a content because I'm going on holiday as well. Do you always
Yes,
tie it together? In other words, you're always working.
always. Like I expense my trips because I am always working on them. Like I can't remember a time where I've just had a holiday. Like I've never just had a holiday. There's always been like, let's say I've gone for 4 days, 1.5 of those days to 2 days have been content and editing. So and that includes like the travel times as well. So it's yeah.
And when we talk about content, do you think now this is I'm sure you're going to get asked this question so many times or have been in your career. Do you think that there'll come a time where you think, oh no, I wish I could have controlled what's been put out about me if you have a daughter or a son? I mean, I'm sure you've all been asked that before. Will there come a time where you go, there's content out there that's gonna be with me for the rest of my life, which I don't feel comfortable about?
Yeah, I think it's a valid question. I do get asked it a lot. One of the things that I'm doing with SX is to be one of the front runners in normalizing the sex industry. So last year, I got an award for being the sex positive influencer of the
You
year.
did. I was going to ask that. Brilliant.
And I think it's things like that where, you know, someone could send something to my child in like however many years time and be like, this is your mum, ha ha ha. Number one, I'd be like, that's illegal, you fucking idiot. So immediately let me just send a letter from my solicitor for you to like a cease and desist or something, like, because all of these things are illegal anyway to do. So if anyone does that, there are precautions that I can take from
So
like
say
a
that
serious
again. So what's illegal? What was illegal? I didn't quite.
to distribute content, so and like show
Oh,
people content. So like the serious route where I take it seriously is that I can scare the shit out of people that do that to my kids.
yeah,
But to be like less serious about it and to kind of, I'm just going to create children that either just don't give a flying fuck because they'll understand who I am as a person
yeah,
and the
yeah,
love and the support and the you do what you want with your life because I love you. They'll get that mum. Whereas like the people that are doing that are going to be the people that are raised by assholes, really.
yeah,
And I always say, like, you know what, it's not about my kid getting bullied, it's about the bully being
yeah. Yes,
raised
yes,
better.
yes, yes.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
I think, and I just think I'm going to just raise resilient kids, and I just know how to do that because I just am really resilient. I've also got this like fuck off attitude, so I think they'll probably kind of get that as well. Where you just, I always say, I'm like, just call them weird. Don't just
Yeah,
say they're weird. Just be like, that's so weird that you've just shown me that. Do you think it's weird that you've got my mum on your phone? Like, that's really strange. And then people will just
yeah,
kind of on themselves, like, oh yeah, wait, why have I done that?
yeah, yeah. No, that's good. So where can our listeners find you? Where can they find your content?
So you can find me on Instagram, which is underscore life of Taylor. Everything's linked in the bio from like my TikToks, my Twitter, my OnlyFans, my YouTube. And basically, yeah, life of Taylor underscore life of Taylor is where you'll just find me.
Do you know what, Taylor? You haven't disappointed me. I was so excited about meeting you online, and I really have enjoyed getting to know you. But not only that, the business side of you, and you are an extremely professional person, and I never doubted it. But I do want a massive thank you to to joining us on The Ugly Truth, and I wish you all the best, and all the and be safe, and in all your future endeavors. I'm sure you're going to be awesome.